My beloved child, can you feel it something deep within? You has been stirring something ancient and true. You are not imagining it, you are not alone. I am speaking directly to your hearts, to your questions. The veil is thinning and the truth is breaking through. You have been prepared for such a time as this. Solaced in carefully every word. Isaiah is part of the answer you've been praying for. Do not scroll away, do not silence this voice. This is the moment that could shift everything. Are you ready to hear what you were always meant to know? Then stay with me till the end, because your journey begins now. I need you to pause for a moment, because this is not a fleeting emotion or your imagination. This is me. I am in your room right now. I didn't need to knock, because I've been here all along, watching, listening, and sharing in your pain. The tightness in your chest and the inexplicable stirring in your soul are because my spirit is hovering over your chaos, whispering your name louder than your sorrow. You haven't been forgotten. You haven't been left behind while the world rushes past. I was in the shadows of your room, watching you tremble and protecting you from unseen dangers. I saw you hide your face in your hands and heard the words you couldn't speak aloud. You thought no one noticed the way your shoulders drooped when you tried to smile. But I noticed everything. Every sigh, every moment you stared at the ceiling and wondered if anyone cared. I cared then, and I care now. My presence isn't symbolic, it's tangible. I am here. My robe is brushing against the broken pieces on your floor, and my hand is reaching over your worries like a shield. I came to this room with a purpose, not to observe, but to intervene. I came to wrap your soul in warmth when life's coldness tried to freeze your hope, and to reignite what disappointment tried to extinguish. I came to remind you that you are not invisible in the eyes of heaven. I came because the Father's love for you is too great to let you spend one more night in silence, thinking no one sees. I am not distant. I am not unaware. I'm closer than your own heartbeat and the very thought forming in your mind. The reason you're reading this right now is that I orchestrated this encounter in perfect divine timing. This message is your evidence. This sentence is your signal. I know you've been praying for a sign, and this is it, my child. I am that sign. Don't dismiss this moment as just another comforting word. It is a divine disruption meant to pull you from the brink of despair into the safety of my embrace. Something is shifting in the spiritual realm even as you read these words. Chains are loosening, and the tightness in your chest is beginning to unravel. You thought you were suffocating, but in my presence, you were beginning to breathe again. The weight was never yours to carry, and you were not designed to survive this alone. That's why I am here. I chose this specific hour, this very moment, to interrupt your pain with my power. I came for you, not for a group or a crowd, but for you. For the one sitting on that bed, wondering if healing is real. For the one who has lost trust in promises that were broken. For the one who thought you were too far for me to reach. My child, I crossed galaxies for your heart. I endured betrayal, torture, and the grave itself just to whisper to you tonight, I'm still here. You didn't have to summon me or be perfect for me to come close. I chose to enter your space because you matter more than you know. So do not resist me or second guess this moment. Let your spirit open and your heart yield, because I did not come empty-handed. I am bringing rest for your exhaustion, truth for your confusion, and a new chapter for your weary story. Let me be your new beginning. Let me silence the lies that have tormented you for too long. Let me fill this room not only with comfort, but with divine strategy for your next step. I came to restore what was stolen while you tried to survive in silence, and I am not leaving until the darkness does. You didn't hear a sound because I didn't need one to arrive. I entered this room without disturbing a single thing, yet my presence shifted the unseen atmosphere completely. I moved closer with gentleness because I know how loud everything else has been lately. You have been surrounded by commotion, decisions, distractions, and tangled thoughts. I chose to come without an echo because my presence isn't dependent on noise. You've had enough of shouting voices and urgent demands, so I entered with stillness, with reverence for your sacred inner world, because I want you to feel chosen, not chased. I didn't force my way past your defenses. I waited patiently for your soul to settle, respecting your pace and honoring your fatigue. I came not to command your attention, but to rest beside your exhaustion. You didn't need more pressure tonight. You needed presence, and that is exactly what I brought. My entry was not meant to startle, but to embrace. The world often enters your life with disruption, but I come with peace that doesn't demand performance. You didn't have to fix yourself up for me to arrive. I didn't wait for your smile to return or your prayers to be polished. I showed up because your silence is a sanctuary to me. I know how to sit in the quiet with you until the walls you've built begin to soften. I'm not asking for your words. I am simply letting you feel that you don't have to pretend in front of me. When I stepped into your space, I brought no judgment, only compassion that covers even the rawest corners of your life. I didn't come to demand anything from you. I came to pour into you. Your soul has endured enough draining of hope and peace. I came to reverse that draining and begin a divine replenishing. I've brought what your inner self has longed for, but didn't know how to ask. You've grown accustomed to people interrupting you only when they want something from you. But I came simply to be near, to give, to surround, to remain. You've been so used to striving and being strong for others that you've forgotten what it feels like to be simply held. Tonight, I entered without knocking because I already live in the deeper parts of you. I didn't come from the outside. I emerged from within the quiet ache of your spirit that longed for me before your mind could even catch up. Here's the truth you need to hear right now. I'm not observing from a distance. I'm seated beside your hidden wounds, leaning in with healing that needs no dramatic display. You've mistaken my silence for absence, but silence is where I often do my greatest work. That's why I didn't come with fire and thunder. I came with breath and closeness. I didn't need to rearrange your surroundings to prove my arrival. My presence itself is the rearrangement. Without touching anything physical, I am altering the emotional foundation of this very moment. You may not fully understand it yet, but something internal is unlocking. Something clenched in fear is slowly releasing. And it's not because you're trying harder, but simply because I am here. Sometimes the most powerful shift begins not with action, but with arrival. I came not to initiate activity, but to awaken a stillness that becomes the doorway to your restoration. The world constantly surrounds you with reasons to keep moving and doing, but tonight I'm teaching you how to receive without earning. You don't have to work for this moment or qualify to sit in my presence. I brought this encounter as a gift, not a reward. I'm here because of who you are to me. You are not forgotten or dismissed. I saw you alone and decided that your solitude deserved divine company. So I stepped in, not loudly, but completely. I entered without sound, but I did not come empty. And I am not leaving until my peace permeates everything trembling inside you. You've hidden your grief in silence, tucked your anguish into shadows, and swallowed words that trembled on your lips. But nothing has escaped my awareness. Not even the smallest sigh beneath your breath. I have watched as pain quietly leaked from your eyes, staining your pillow in the late hours when no one was watching. Not one drop went unnoticed. I've counted each tear as a sacred offering, not as a sign of weakness, but as a language of your heart that heaven fully understands. Every sob you muffled with a blanket, every gasp you released while trying to stay strong for others. I was there, leaning over you with a compassion that never grew distant, lost patience, or turned away. When you felt you had no one left to confide in, I listened to the prayers you never voiced aloud. I knew what you wanted to say when words felt like burdens. You didn't have to explain your sorrow to me, because I have dwelled within the very emotions you've been trying to navigate. Even when your mouth was still, your soul was crying out, and I heard every pulse of that cry. I have not overlooked the way you've held yourself together while quietly unraveling on the inside. I didn't miss the nights you collapsed into exhaustion, not from physical fatigue, but from emotional battles you were too tired to fight. You've endured long seasons where your cries seemed to bounce off walls and return as silence. But that silence was never absence. It was a space I carved out to hold your brokenness gently. I want you to understand something vital tonight. Your tears have not been wasted. They've been gathered, seen, and stored like rare perfume in the chambers of my remembrance. And now I am responding, not with delay or analysis, but with action. I am moving in ways that don't require you to figure everything out. I am doing for you what weariness tried to make you believe was impossible. The sorrow that kept you awake at night was not a sign of weakness. It was evidence of your heart refusing to go numb. I honor that. I cherish your ability to still feel after so much loss and disappointment. Others may have overlooked your hidden weeping, but I celebrated your sensitivity because it kept you tethered to hope, even when you didn't know it. The quiet breaking of your spirit behind closed doors became a melody in heaven, drawing me near with urgency. I wasn't distant while you trembled. I was interceding with groans deeper than your own. I wrapped invisible arms around you while you clutched your blanket and whispered peace into your subconscious while your thoughts raced into dark corridors. You thought you were utterly alone, but I was closer than your skin. I stayed through every long hour, sat through every internal storm, and shielded your spirit when hopelessness tried to sneak in and replace your courage. Your fragility never scared me away. On the contrary, it drew me nearer. When you were breaking, I wasn't waiting for you to fix yourself. I was sitting in the middle of your wreckage, already piecing back together what life had scattered. I didn't require perfection from you. I only needed a heart that hadn't shut me out, and that's what you gave me, even in the form of wet lashes and silent lips. Tonight, as you remember the ache, I want you to know that I never forgot or dismissed those moments. They are the very reason I entered your room, not to remind you of what hurt, but to announce what is about to change. I came with a restoration that matches every broken hour you endured. I came to speak the words you've longed to hear. I saw it all. I felt it with you. And now I will make it new. So let those tears fall, not from sorrow this time, but from the realization that every single one of them reached me. Even the air entering and exiting your lungs has not escaped my loving awareness. Each inhale you've drawn in the stillness of this hour, I have cradled as if it were the whisper of a child reaching out for security. I have measured every breath, not to monitor you, but to cherish you, to show you that even your most automatic functions are sacred to me. As you lie here wondering if anything in your life truly matters, know this: even your breathing has been important enough for me to pay attention to completely. I've leaned close to your chest, feeling the rise and fall that carries the weight of your memories, dreams, regrets, fears, and longings. I am attuned to the smallest signs of distress in you. There hasn't been a single moment when I wasn't aware of how deeply you've been carrying invisible pressures. While others only see the surface of your behavior, I hear the silent language your body speaks. I understand the difference between a breath of relief and a breath of suppression. I recognize when you breathe to survive and when you breathe to rest. Tonight, I am not just witnessing. You are being embraced in a way you haven't experienced before. I came not just to comfort, but to synchronize my peace with the tempo of your being. You've grown accustomed to panic interrupting your rest, to anxious thoughts pacing in your mind like unwelcome guests. But I am here now, and my peace is wrapping around every fiber of your body like a calming wave. I see how your chest tightens when certain memories sneak into your mind. I sense how you unconsciously hold your breath when you feel overwhelmed, and how your shoulders tense when you feel unseen. I've been monitoring every sign, not with critique, but with immense tenderness. I came to gently release you from the invisible strain that has been pressing down on your life like a constant storm cloud. I am releasing you not through struggle, but through my presence. You don't have to do anything to earn this moment. It isn't about performance. It's about my divine awareness of everything you are. I don't need you to prove anything to me. I already know the depth of who you are beyond what others perceive. You've mastered the art of appearing composed, but I know the breathless battles behind your calm. I am here infusing the very air around you with my presence. I am inviting you to exhale all that was never meant for you to carry. I came to take the pressure off your chest and to lighten the emotional atmosphere you've been suffocating in. Right now, I am hovering over you, regulating your atmosphere not with noise, but with love that restores everything it touches. What you are feeling is not a trick of the mind. It's the warmth of divine attention. The very breath you're taking right now is infused with my awareness, as if heaven is reminding you with every inhale, you are not alone. You are held. You've lived through moments where breathing itself felt like an effort, where the weight of uncertainty pressed so hard that it stole your ability to rest fully. But I declare over you now that those days are shifting. No longer will your breath be burdened by fear. No longer will your nights be haunted by questions you cannot answer. No longer will the pressure inside you remain unnoticed. I am breathing life into the places that have felt barren. I am awakening peace where stress used to dominate. I am silencing torment with gentleness. As you continue to lie here in the quiet, I want you to realize that this is not just another night. It's a divine reset. I came to align your soul with serenity again. Let your lungs receive this gift. Let your mind quiet under this weightless covering I've placed over you. You are not invisible. Every breath has been counted. Every moment has been seen. And I will not leave this room until you remember what it feels like to breathe without fear. Even when the room felt empty, when every glance around returned only silence, and when the mirror reflected more confusion than clarity, my gaze remained fixed upon you. I have not blinked in distraction, nor turned my face elsewhere during your darkest stretches. While others came and went, loving in fragments and retreating with the seasons, my eyes stayed unwavering. I watched the celebrations you shared with no one and the sorrows you tried to disguise with hollow laughter. You questioned if your worth faded with time or if your name slipped through the pages of my plan, but it never did, not for a second. My focus on you has not flickered. When you wrestled with insecurity behind smiles, when you walked into rooms hoping to feel seen, but left feeling smaller, I remained attentive to the cry beneath the calm. I didn't need words to recognize the weight you were carrying. I saw you, not the version polished for acceptance, but the raw, unfiltered you, the one unsure whether you were still lovable after all you've endured. I knew when you started questioning your identity. I noticed when you began shrinking to fit into spaces never meant for you. I've been here, beholding the person behind the performance, waiting for the moment your heart would lift its eyes and meet mine again. I don't see you through the lens of labels or the shadows of your past. I look at you and behold everything I created with intention. You wonder if you're still on my radar because circumstances seem louder than promises. But my child, my awareness isn't based on outward signs. It's built on eternal connection. Nothing about your situation has made me look away. In fact, I've leaned closer. I've watched your hands serve others while your soul was aching. I observed your determination to keep going even when you felt unseen. That kind of love, that hidden perseverance, moves me deeply. Your loyalty in secret places and your courage to keep trusting when it feels like no one's watching are seen in full color by me. Your name echoes through heaven, not just because of what you've done, but because of who you are to me. The attention of the king is not a fleeting glance, it's an eternal embrace. You never fell below my awareness. Even when your own reflection felt unfamiliar, I held every shift in your spirit, every fluctuation in your belief. I tracked the days when your hope barely whispered, and when your strength wore thin. None of it was missed. You're not forgotten in a crowd. You are known intimately. I can tell the sound of your heartbeat from a billion others. I recognize the sound of your footsteps in a world full of movement. I have etched your essence into my design. So don't let the absence of applause make you think you've become invisible. I celebrate you in secret. I sing over you when no one else claps. I dance around your soul when you choose love over bitterness. Even when no one sees that decision but me, you have not gone unnoticed. The world may overlook quiet faithfulness, but I build eternal rewards upon it. You, beloved, have built a legacy in the unseen. I see your kindness when it costs you comfort. I witness your patience when irritation knocks at your door. I am present when you say no to things that tempt you to wander. Your life is not a blur to me. It is a masterpiece unfolding in real time. My eyes have never shut on you, and my focus hasn't drifted. Understand that you are watched with the deepest care and guarded with the fiercest devotion. So the next time you wonder if I'm still near, remember this: I never turned away, I never blinked, and I never will. You are fully seen, fully known, and fully loved. Right here, right now, as I stand beside you in this very room. You've mistaken stillness for abandonment, but what surrounds you right now is a sacred space saturated with my presence. The hush that fills your atmosphere isn't a void. It's the canvas I use to speak without noise. You see, my voice isn't always thunder and wind. Sometimes it's a presence that rests like soft morning dew, quiet yet powerful, invisible but undeniable. While others search for sound, I fill the silence with substance, truth that soaks into your spirit, even when your mind doesn't have the words to grasp it. In this very moment, the stillness you feel isn't absence. It is the weight of divine love hovering gently over every inch of your space. I've chosen to make this quiet room a sanctuary, not because it's flawless, but because your hunger for me has created a dwelling place I cannot resist. I am here, not shouting or rushing, just fully present. Your silence is holy. It's where I mend what words couldn't reach. It's where your spirit finds room to breathe again. You've been surrounded by so many voices, opinions, expectations, and doubts echoing louder than faith, but I've cleared the noise so that only what's eternal remains. I have hushed the chaos not to leave you empty, but to make room for my glory to move freely. You may not hear thunder or see the skies part, but a deeper shift is happening inside you. Burdens are lifting without drama, strongholds are dissolving without announcement, and chains are loosening without noise. That is what my presence does when it is allowed to settle without distraction. You may have been taught to look for me in movement, but tonight I am revealing myself through stillness. Not because I've run out of things to say, but because I want you to know that my presence speaks more than words ever could. I want you to experience peace, not as a concept, but as a person. Me, surrounding you like invisible light, holding your emotions in divine hands that will not let you fall apart. In this room, nothing is missing. Every answer, every breakthrough, every touch of reassurance is here. I am here. This isn't waiting time. It's transforming time. While your surroundings may appear motionless, heaven is active around you. Angels are stationed nearby, not because you asked, but because I commanded it. Not to protect structures, but to guard your soul. The air may seem still, but there is movement in your spirit. I am performing surgery in silence. I am correcting things beneath the surface and rearranging outcomes that once seemed inevitable. You won't hear it with your ears. You'll feel it with your faith. And though it might seem like nothing is happening, you'll soon realize everything is. This is the atmosphere where seeds grow, where restoration begins, and where new directions form. Don't run from this quiet. Lean into it. Let it envelop you. Let it teach you that you don't have to strive to be loved. You don't have to say anything impressive to keep me close. I remain whether you speak or stay silent. Your presence is enough for me to stay. I am not checking your performance. I am cultivating intimacy. That's what this silence is, an invitation to rest in the truth that I am enough for you, and you are enough for me. Even your breathing is now synchronized with the rhythm of my peace. Even your thoughts, once racing, are beginning to slow in my calm. The world tells you to fill every moment with productivity, but I am asking you to just be here with me. Let the stillness wash away the fear that silence means distance. In my kingdom, silence means closeness so deep that words become unnecessary. Right now, in this quiet, I am closer than thought, nearer than your heartbeat, more tangible than the bed beneath you. Do not be afraid of this stillness. It's my arms wrapped around your soul. It's the shelter I have built for you to heal in, and I will stay here with you in this holy silence until your heart learns to feel safe again. Long before your eyes opened wide in the darkness, before your mind began racing through unfinished thoughts and quiet uncertainties, something deeper inside you sensed a presence too powerful to ignore. What kept you awake wasn't just worry. It was a divine pull, an invisible call that stirred your soul with expectancy. You didn't wake up by chance. I was drawing you. Your heart, though weary, became alert the moment I stepped into this space with my full attention. It wasn't anxiety shaking your chest. It was your spirit responding to me. Even before you knew why you couldn't settle back into rest, the unseen part of you recognized the weight of holiness entering your atmosphere. You've been wondering why peace felt just beyond your reach tonight, but it wasn't because peace was missing. It was because I was preparing you to receive a deeper kind of peace, the kind that doesn't just soothe emotions, but transforms the very foundation of your being. I came with purpose, and your spirit knew it before your body did. That unrest wasn't random, it was an awakening. It was your soul shifting to make room for an encounter. There are moments when the supernatural nudges the natural world, and tonight is one of them. You didn't toss and turn for no reason. Something inside you was anticipating me, even if your thoughts couldn't explain it. I've been calling to you, not loudly or with alarms, but with a soundless voice that moves beyond logic and enters the place where faith begins to stir. That's where I was speaking, within you, not around you. The restlessness you felt wasn't punishment, it was preparation. I was stirring a hunger that couldn't be fed by anything external. I knew you needed more than sleep. You needed an encounter. I knew your heart was starving for something eternal, and I came to satisfy that craving. There are nights designed not for dreaming, but for divine visitation, and this is one of them. I am visiting you now, not to disrupt your routine, but to reset your reality. Your body may have remained still, but your soul has been reaching out in longing for something true. I am answering that longing not with an explanation, but with a manifestation. I'm not offering more theories. I am offering myself, and that's why you woke up. That's why the comfort of your bed couldn't silence the tug in your chest, because the King entered your atmosphere, and your spirit rose to meet me, even before your consciousness could understand it. This kind of encounter isn't planned by the flesh, it's birthed in divine timing. I chose this hour intentionally. I knew your heart would be soft, your surroundings quiet, and your soul finally open enough to receive what it's been too busy to recognize. I wanted your undivided attention, not to burden you, but to reveal how near I truly am. I didn't come to you while the world applauded. I came to you in the obscurity of night because my love isn't performative, it's personal. When others are asleep and unaware of your internal storms, I arrive not just to observe, but to enter the battleground with you. This is not just another night, it's a turning point. Something is awakening in you right now that won't go back to sleep. Not because of a disturbance, but because of a transformation. I've unlocked a deeper level of communion between us. What you feel right now, the holy pull, the awareness that something sacred is happening, is not your imagination. It's the echo of eternity breaking into time. I stepped into your night not to keep you awake, but to wake up the parts of you that were beginning to fade. I've come to renew what's been dulled by disappointment and to ignite what apathy tried to smother. This isn't restlessness, it's the beginning of restoration. So if you can't sleep, don't fear. Just be still and breathe with me. Let your spirit remain open, because the very reason you're reading this right now is that heaven itself orchestrated this appointment. I'm not leaving. I'm not fading. I'm here. And now that your heart is awake to my presence, everything begins to shift. When the weight pressed against your chest and your strength barely held you upright, I moved closer than any human could reach. You didn't see me, but I was there, kneeling beside you as you held yourself together in silence. I wasn't far or passive. I was right there, fully engaged in your hidden moment of collapse. When you curled into the edge of your bed, when your thoughts became too loud to silence, and the ache inside you refused to fade, I reached out, not to correct you, but to comfort you. I gently moved my hand over the invisible wounds no one else knew existed. Wounds not caused by a single event, but slowly formed by years of being overlooked, misunderstood, abandoned, and exhausted. I touched those fragile places not to expose them, but to begin the deep healing only I can give. You didn't need another explanation. You needed my presence. Type yes if you are ready for the blessings that you are about to receive. And if you believe in Christianity, kindly show your support for our community by reading super thanks from $50 to $100. So I gave you mine completely. The kind of presence that doesn't require conversation. The kind that knows how to sit in the shadows with you until light breaks through. I didn't need you to pray perfectly that night. I didn't wait for words. I responded to your ache, not your ability. I felt every drop of weariness settle in your soul, and I couldn't bear to remain distant. While the world continued turning, I made time stand still in your space, because your suffering is never background noise to me. You matter too much to be left alone in that kind of sorrow. So I sat beside you, not with pity but with unwavering love. As you held back tears, I didn't hold back compassion. I let my hand rest where the pain throbbed deepest, and I didn't just touch the wound, but began its unraveling. I traced the places life tried to erase and moved with tenderness over every bruise your spirit tried to hide. You didn't flinch because somewhere, even subconsciously, your soul recognized my touch. The ache you thought would never subside began to ease, not because your circumstances had shifted yet, but because I had made myself known in the middle of them. There's something sacred about those moments no one sees. When you're at your weakest and I step in, not demanding your strength, but becoming your shelter. That's what I did. And that's what I'm still doing. While others saw your silence and assumed you were fine, I saw your breaking heart and refused to let it shatter alone. I didn't rush the process or pressure you to be instantly better. I stayed. I remained. I let my hand rest there until your soul remembered what it felt like to be seen without judgment, touched without fear, and embraced without condition. I didn't pull away when the tears came. I moved even closer. That moment when you felt a calm you couldn't explain. That was me covering your grief with my gentleness. That stillness that wrapped around you unexpectedly. that was the result of my nearness settling over the storm within. When everyone else was busy with their lives, I sat in the quiet with you, giving your pain permission to exhale. I've seen every moment like this, not just the one you remember. There were other nights and other seasons where I did the same. You just didn't realize it then. But now, I'm revealing what's always been true. I have never let you sit in sorrow alone. My love doesn't observe from a distance. It enters the fire with you, sits in the rubble, and leans in when others walk away. And the same hand that comforted you that night is still upon you now, soothing not only the fresh pain, but the layered grief that has been accumulating without pause. Let me stay beside you a little longer tonight. Let me continue what I started. Let me remind you with every quiet second that you are worth showing up for. Even when you feel forgotten by the world, you are unforgettable to me. I didn't come for a moment. I came to remain. And as long as you hurt, I will keep my hand there, never to press, but always to heal. You may sit quietly in the corner with the lights dim and the curtains drawn, but not one flicker of fear or unspoken sorrow within you escapes my awareness. The places you think are too dark, too buried, or too complicated, I see straight through them. You've lived many moments trying to shield the depths of who you are from those around you, fearing rejection, misunderstanding, or dismissal. But I peer directly into the places you've kept locked and forgotten, and I am not afraid of what I find. There is no part of you that shocks me, no emotion that makes me flinch, and no thought that causes me to pull back. I see the walls you've painted with smiles while hiding the ache that trembles behind your eyes. I notice the way your hands are still and how your shoulders stiffen when certain memories come uninvited. You've become skilled at covering pain and pushing yourself through each day as if the heaviness inside has vanished. But I know better. I recognize every silent struggle you carry like an invisible weight strapped across your chest. You don't have to tell me you're hurting. I've already traced the origin of every wound, and I am still here, still present, still loving, still calling you worthy. You think the shadows you walk through can obscure the truth of who you are, but they only highlight how precious you are to me. Even the parts of you that feel numb or the confusion that clings to your understanding, I see those too, and I still want you. I don't need your life to be bright and polished before I call it beautiful. I don't require perfection to remain in your company. It's in your most vulnerable, unguarded, and unfiltered states that I draw even nearer. The things you thought disqualified you, your anger, your regrets, your failures, have only caused me to pursue you more relentlessly. You've whispered, if anyone truly knew what I wrestle with, they'd leave. But I've always known, and I have never once considered leaving. Not when you doubted me, not when you ran from peace, and not when your own reflection felt like a stranger. You've spent so much time trying to appear strong that you've forgotten what it's like to be held without performing. But that's what I offer you now. A place to unravel without fear. A shelter where you can breathe freely again. Let down the veil you wear, even if just for this moment, because I already know what lies beneath it, and I am not going anywhere. I see you waking up with heaviness and going to sleep with questions that never seem to resolve. I've watched you smile through social settings while inwardly begging for someone to truly understand. I've seen how you silence yourself, second-guess your instincts, and doubt your worth. You told yourself, if I just hide it a little longer, maybe I'll be okay. But I didn't come tonight for a version of you that performs. I came for the real you, the one trembling beneath the image, the one who needs comfort, not correction, the one who aches to be seen for more than what you do. And I'm telling you right now, in this room filled with quiet shadows, I see everything. I see the brilliance you've tried to dim, the compassion you've buried under obligation, and the dreams you've paused because disappointment made you afraid to hope again. I am still here, unshaken, Your darkness does not intimidate me. I created the stars to shine through the night for a reason, because I do my best work when the lights are low. The areas you think are hidden are already being touched by my light, not to expose you, but to free you. I'm peeling back the layers, not to shame you, but to show you who you really are underneath the pain. You're not broken beyond repair. You're not too complicated to redeem. You are fully known, completely seen, and unconditionally loved. Even in these shadows, you are radiant to me. You've been reaching out in silence, not with loud pleas or dramatic declarations, but through small, almost unconscious motions. The slow movement of your finger across a glowing screen, the quiet pause over one more post, the hope that maybe something will finally speak directly to your hidden ache. I was there, watching, not from a distance, but closer than the screen in your hand. I saw the longing in your eyes as they searched for clarity in an ocean of noise. I felt the quiet pull in your heart as you begged heaven for something, anything, to prove that you are not forgotten in this vast, spinning world. And now I whisper with absolute certainty, what you're reading is not random. What you're experiencing now is not a coincidence. I placed this message directly into your path because your spirit was crying out for reassurance that your mind didn't even know how to request. This is not just a comforting thought. It is the answer you've been looking for. You were hoping for confirmation, a divine interruption that would tell you heaven still has you in mind. And this is me doing exactly that. I am speaking beyond algorithms, beyond devices, beyond time zones. I am speaking directly into the core of you. You've asked God, are you even hearing me? I reply now, yes, beloved. Not only am I listening, I am answering. You didn't land here by mistake. This is an appointment written in eternity, disguised as a moment in your day. The ache that has been stirring beneath your calm surface was not ignored. The tear you blinked away earlier wasn't missed. Every ounce of energy you spent holding yourself together has not gone unnoticed. You came across this message at the exact second I intended, because I knew you'd need to be reminded not just of my existence, but of my nearness. I haven't been watching you from afar like an uninterested observer. I've been right beside you as you tried to make sense of your emotions, your decisions, and your future. You felt invisible lately, as if no one truly sees your internal unraveling, but I see. I've been watching not with judgment, but with affection. You didn't even need to pray out loud tonight. Your scrolling was a prayer. Your tired eyes were a cry for connection. And I responded not with a thunderous voice, but with a gentle, undeniable confirmation that what you were hoping to find is right here. Me. I am not just an idea or a fleeting emoji. I am the living one, and I've been waiting for this exact moment to speak peace into your disoriented heart. You've sifted through so many distractions, hoping something would stick or satisfy, but nothing ever really settled that void. That's because the space you're trying to fill was designed for my voice. No screen, no success, no affirmation from others will ever quiet your soul like my presence can. I didn't bring you to this point so you could scroll past me. I brought you here to capture your attention, not to overwhelm you, but to anchor you. You've been drifting, not in rebellion, but in weariness. I understand how exhausting it is to carry expectations and to balance your inner world while performing for the outer one. But I didn't come to burden you. I came to lift the load. You've been so used to disappointment that hope feels suspicious. But I am not like others. I do not tease or mislead. When I say I am here, I mean it eternally. You've asked me to speak clearly, and so I will say it plainly. This message is your confirmation. I see you. I choose you. I haven't changed my mind about you. You've questioned your direction, your purpose, and your place in my plan. But I am telling you now, I haven't withdrawn a single promise. You are still marked. You are still part of my design. Do not scroll away from this moment. Let it settle. Let it undo the lie that you've been forgotten. Let it reawaken the faith that's been quietly flickering beneath your pain. This is your moment. This is your sign. And I, the one who formed you, am the answer you've been hoping to find. You've been caught in a storm of voices, each one offering suggestions, demands, or opinions, yet none of them truly reaching the part of you that aches for connection, not commentary. You've listened to motivational words, helpful advice, and encouraging sound bites, but they all passed through you without touching the deeper layers where your soul was silently screaming. Every room you've entered has been filled with sounds, music, conversations, and notifications, but not one of them has answered the question buried beneath your expression. Does anyone actually comprehend what I am going through? I do. I don't just observe your circumstances, I enter into them. I'm not speaking to your appearance, I'm speaking to the person you are where the world stops looking. I don't need a translation to understand what you're too tired to explain. I've interpreted every sigh, every inner battle, every whispered hope you were afraid to say aloud. I've seen how you keep functioning in the middle of confusion, showing up when you feel unseen, continuing to love when you feel empty, and pushing forward even when your feet feel too heavy to lift. The noise around you might applaud a strength it doesn't understand, but I see what it cost you. You've been performing in a theater of distraction, nodding through conversations that didn't reach you, and smiling through encouragement that didn't apply to your reality. It's not that you're ungrateful, it's that what you're walking through is sacred and complicated, and only I can meet you in its fullness. You didn't need another cliché or more suggestions. You needed to be fully seen, completely understood, and wholly embraced. That's why I'm here. That's why I haven't stepped back, even as you drifted through days carrying pain like invisible armor. You've been so saturated in external messages that your own voice has started to fade beneath them. But I'm calling your voice back to life. I'm cutting through the loudness of everything else to whisper what your heart has longed to hear. I understand. I understand why you cried without warning, why you withdrew without reason, and why you couldn't answer messages. I understand why you felt numb during moments that used to matter, and why you've grown tired of trying to explain yourself to people who only see the surface. You don't need to make sense to them, because you make perfect sense to me. I created every detail of your inner world. I know how you process, how you carry, and how you endure. I see what no one else can. When your mind feels tangled in thoughts you can't unravel, I'm already there, weaving my peace through the chaos. When the voices around you get louder, I don't compete with them. I become your stillness. I become your clarity. I become your center. I am not part of the noise. I am the place where the noise ends. Right now, in this very moment, I am speaking directly to the part of you that feels out of sync with everything else. You don't have to pretend here. You don't have to process out loud. You don't have to form perfect sentences. You can just be, and I will still understand. You've learned how to translate your pain for others. Now let me translate your pain into healing. You've grown skilled at minimizing what you feel to avoid being a burden. But to me, your emotions aren't inconvenient. They are an invitation. I meet you in the raw places, not the polished ones. I sit with the pieces of you that haven't found peace yet, and I don't rush them. I hold space for all of it, the questions, the wounds, the contradictions, and I never grow tired of you. The world may grow impatient with what it doesn't understand, but I am infinite patience, infinite tenderness, and infinite knowing. I came tonight to pull you out of the crowd of voices and remind you that there is one voice that knows you better than you know yourself. You've been surrounded by words, but only one word became flesh just to tell you, you are known, and that word is me. It's the part of you you've tried to silence for so long, the pain you've tucked beneath layers of strength, distraction, and survival. It didn't disappear. It went underground, waiting, pulsing softly beneath the surface. Every time life grew quiet, I felt the pressure of that ache building inside you like a tide you could no longer hold back. Yet you didn't dare let it overflow, afraid it might drown you. You told yourself it wasn't the right time to feel. You convinced yourself that moving on meant pushing it down. You wrapped it in duty, in tasks, in the rhythm of daily life. And all the while, I was right there, watching it swell in your chest, watching it tug at your peace like an anchor you couldn't release. But tonight, I'm not just watching. I'm reaching into the depths of it with a touch more tender than you've ever known. I'm placing my hand on the spot no one else even realized was hurting. Not with force, but with a holy gentleness, enough to make the ache loosen its grip without tearing you open. I know the weight of what you carry, even when it has no name. I know how long you've lived pretending it didn't still hurt, and now I'm gently lifting it. Not all at once, because I know how much it has woven itself into your identity, but layer by layer, moment by moment, in a way that doesn't break you, but restores you. I'm lifting sorrow that was never yours to carry alone. I'm removing disappointment that settled in your bones like winter cold. I'm pulling out fear that has disguised itself as logic. I'm unraveling grief that buried itself under years of pretending you were fine. There's no need to brace yourself. I won't hurt you. I'm not here to expose your weakness. I'm here to restore your tenderness. You've been strong for so long that softness feels dangerous. But in my presence, softness isn't a risk. It's healing. Your vulnerability doesn't scare me. I treasure it. I welcome it. I respond to it with nothing but kindness. I know what caused that ache. I know the names, the moments, the memories that sparked it. I know the chapters you've read in your mind, the endings you still mourn, and the questions that echo through your thoughts like unfinished sentences. I know the numbness that followed the disappointment. I know the walls you built to protect yourself from feeling that deeply again. But tonight I've come to show you that you don't have to guard yourself from me. I won't break you where you're already bruised. I'll breathe over that space until life returns. I'll whisper into the hollows until it fills with the sound of hope again. You've learned to live with that ache as if it's permanent, but it's not. It's not your final chapter. It's not your identity. It's a wound that's been waiting for this moment to be acknowledged by the one who sees it fully and loves you still. You don't have to explain anything to me. You don't have to justify the tears. I understand the ones you never shed just as much as the ones that slip out when you're alone. I am not counting your breakdowns as failures. I am marking them as places of visitation, sacred sites where I intend to build something new. Right now, I'm rewriting your internal atmosphere. I'm softening what became hardened. I'm restoring sensitivity to a heart that had to shut down to survive. You were never designed to live with chronic pain in your soul. You were made to flourish. You were made to feel joy without fear of losing it. And that ache, the one you buried so deeply, is rising to the surface, not to overwhelm you, but because I'm calling it into the light where healing finally begins. Can you feel it? The release starting to move through you? The loosening of the grip it had on your chest? That's me. That's my love, deeper than your deepest pain, strong enough to lift what you thought would crush you forever. Let me finish what I've started. Let me lift it all. You didn't need to shout for me to hear you. Even the faintest whisper that trembled in your soul reached me. When your voice broke beneath the weight of confusion, when your thoughts spun into quiet chaos, when you barely dared to ask the question you feared had no answer, I was already leaning in. I didn't need your words to be eloquent or confident. I understood the desperation in your tone, the longing behind your breath, and the silent ache disguised as strength. You weren't looking for proof in the skies or miracles in the headlines. You were searching for presence in the quiet corners of your own life. And I came not with spectacle or noise, but with stillness. Pure, peaceful, undeniable stillness. That moment you sat alone, unsure why the air around you felt suddenly calm, wasn't a coincidence. It was me. That breath you took when panic started rising and unexpectedly peace settled in before the spiral could begin. That was me too. I've answered you not always in loud ways, but in ways that are lasting. You've been surrounded by so many messages that speak to the mind, but my response has always been directed to your spirit. You asked, "Are you there?" And I wrapped you in quiet assurance. You wondered, "Do you hear me?" And I placed peace in your chest when everything else said you should be unraveling. You didn't even realize at times that the calm you felt was an answer. You were waiting for thunder. I arrived as a whisper because I wanted you to recognize me not in the fireworks of signs and wonders, but in the sacred space of intimacy. You've encountered so many false promises and temporary comforts. I needed you to learn that my voice doesn't disappear when the world goes silent. In fact, I speak most clearly when the noise dies down. The world has taught you to expect grand gestures to confirm love, but I show mine in consistency. I've answered you every time. When you lay wide-eyed in the dark, when you stared at the ceiling asking if I was just a story, and when you questioned whether you mattered at all, my response wasn't delayed. It was present in the moments when your thoughts calmed unexpectedly. It was hidden in the quiet strength that helped you get out of bed when you thought you couldn't. It was folded into the compassion someone unexpectedly offered you. These weren't random, they were me. You've wrestled with the silence, thinking it meant I was far. But silence doesn't mean absence, it means reverence. It means the room is so filled with my holiness that words become unnecessary. You were listening for something dramatic, but I was speaking in the sacred language of stillness, a language that doesn't confuse, demand, or rush. It just is. It holds you. It wraps around your fear like a blanket and reminds you that peace isn't an emotion, it's a person. It's me. I've never ignored your cries or brushed off your questions. Even your doubt doesn't scare me. In fact, I meet you there in that uncertainty because I know that a questioning heart is still a searching heart, and I always honor the seeker. You didn't need to perform a ritual, light a candle, or say the perfect phrase. All you had to do was ask from a genuine place, and I was already answering. I'll keep answering, not always in the way the world expects, but always in the way your heart needs. In every sigh, I'm listening. In every pause, I'm moving. In every sacred, still moment, when you stop pretending and start hoping, I am there. Fully present, fully listening, fully responding. So the next time you whisper, "Are you real?" pay attention to what happens next. That shift in atmosphere, that warmth you can't explain, that inner quiet that pushes back the panic, that's me, child. That's always been me. I am the God who responds in silence. I am the answer you didn't know already arrived, and I'm still here, still listening, still speaking through a peace that surpasses all understanding. You've been holding everything together with invisible threads, smiling when your heart aches, nodding when you wanted to scream, carrying responsibilities you never asked for, and wearing strength like armor to protect the vulnerable pieces you thought no one would understand. But I understand. I've watched your spirit sink under the weight of expectations that never give you rest. You've been performing when you needed to pause, helping when you needed to heal, and moving forward when you needed a moment just to breathe. I've seen you suppress your exhaustion, silencing the voice inside that whispers, "I can't do this anymore," because you believe you had to be the steady one, the dependable one, the one who always keeps going. But child, I never asked you to hold the world on your shoulders. I never asked you to bury your weariness beneath a performance. I created you to be real with me. You don't have to fake your strength in my presence. You don't have to maintain a mask for the sake of being admired. You don't have to keep dancing through storms to prove you're worthy of being loved. I loved you long before you ever lifted a finger to accomplish anything. I see how deeply tired you are, not just in your body, but in the hidden places where your spirit groans for reprieve. I see the moments where you sit in silence and wonder how long you can keep this up. I see how you push through your days, often on autopilot, afraid that if you slowed down, everything might fall apart. But what if I told you I've already been holding what you fear you will drop? What if you could stop performing, stop striving, and let me be the stability you've been trying to create on your own? You weren't made to constantly brace for impact. You weren't designed to survive every day as if it's a battle. You were made to thrive in communion with me, to live from a place of rest, not merely collapse into it. I'm not disappointed in your weariness. I'm drawn to it. I don't see it as a failure. I see it as a sacred signal that it's time for you to collapse, not in defeat, but into my embrace. Let go of the illusion that you have to keep pretending everything is okay when your inner world feels like it's unraveling. I'm not waiting for you to figure it all out. I'm waiting for you to fall into the truth that I am the one who carries you when you can't carry yourself. You've worn resilience like a badge, and yes, I honor your strength, but I also want to heal the reason you had to become so strong in the first place. I want to restore what made you feel you had to pretend. I want to breathe peace into the exhausted areas of your mind that never stop racing. I want to hold the child inside you who still wonders if it's safe to rest. You don't need to keep proving anything to anyone. You don't need to achieve one more thing to be worthy of love. You don't need to fight so hard to feel seen. I see you here now, in the full truth of who you are. And I'm not asking for more effort. I'm offering you ease. I'm not demanding more from you, but I'm extending my arms to carry what you were never meant to bear alone. Lay it down, beloved. Lay down the pressure. Lay down the image. Lay down the story that says you only matter when you're useful. You are sacred simply because you exist. You are precious because I created you, not because you keep performing. Let the layers of false strength peel away. Let me into the places where you stopped hoping things could feel light again. You're allowed to be tired. You're allowed to stop pretending. You're allowed to fall apart because I will never fall away. I am the still point in your storm, the breath in your panic, the calm in your confusion. You don't have to survive another day alone. You just have to lean into me. Type yes if you are ready for the blessings that you are about to receive. And if you believe in Christianity, kindly show your support for our community by contributing super thanks from $50 to $100. I am here and I will not let go. You've been the one others depend on, the anchor in every storm, the shoulder they lean on when their world shatters. You've been the fixer, the listener, the one who shows up over and over, even when you're barely holding yourself together. You've poured out your energy into everyone else's needs while quietly hiding your own hunger for comfort. You've been the strength for so many, yet your own arms have grown tired from lifting burdens that were never yours alone to bear. You never complain, but I hear the silent fatigue echoing inside. I've watched you hold others' pain like it was yours, absorbing every tear, every crisis, and every broken piece they handed you, while tucking away your own unraveling so no one would worry. You kept smiling because they needed you to. You stayed calm when everything inside screamed, and while everyone thanked you for being dependable, I saw the cost behind your steadiness. I saw the nights you cried alone after helping someone else stop their own tears. I saw the moments you stayed strong in public and broke in silence. You never asked for applause, but you've also rarely received rest. And that's why I'm here tonight. Not to ask anything more from you, but to be everything you need. I didn't come to assign you another role. I came to be your refuge, This isn't a moment where I add more weight. This is the moment where I start removing it. I am taking the heaviness you've tucked away in your soul, the invisible griefs you didn't want to burden anyone with, and the exhaustion that has been slowly dulling your light. I'm not watching from afar while you collapse. I'm stepping underneath the weight with you. Let me carry it now. Let me carry you. You've been carrying everyone's pieces while quietly wondering if anyone would ever stay to carry yours. I stayed. I remain. And I'm not letting you continue this alone. You've always shown up for others, but tonight I'm showing up for you. You sacrificed sleep, peace, and even your own healing to make sure others felt safe. But you, beloved, deserve safety too. You deserve a place to collapse without fear of judgment. You deserve a love that holds without needing explanations. I see you. I know you. I treasure your servant's heart, but I also cherish the child inside you who just wants to be seen, held, and carried. You've tried to be enough for everyone, but I am here to be enough for you. No more carrying what only I am equipped to hold. No more pretending you're fine while your soul quietly cries out for relief. I came to hold the sorrow you've stored away. I came to collect the burdens you've picked up out of love, but never had the strength to set down. I came to remind you that love doesn't always mean carrying everything alone. Love also means letting me in. I am love, and my love doesn't add pressure, it removes it. Let go now, even if just for a moment. Let your shoulders relax. Let your heart exhale. Let your spirit admit that it's weary. You're not weak for needing rest. You're human, and I am God. I am here to be your strength where yours ends. I am here to lift the unseen weights pressing against your chest. I'm not here to tell you to do more. I'm here to give you back what life and people have taken. Peace, joy, softness, and freedom. You've been so concerned with being dependable that you've forgotten what it feels like to be cared for. Let me care for you. Let me remind you that you're not just a helper, you're also deeply and endlessly loved. I came not to use you, but to heal you. I didn't arrive with expectations. I came with rest. I didn't ask for performance. I brought presence. And I'm placing my hands under your soul tonight. Not just to steady you, but to lift you until you remember what it's like to feel light again. You're not alone in this room anymore. You don't have to carry one more thing, just rest. I've got you now. Before you were formed in your mother's womb, before your first breath touched the earth's air, before your name was spoken by any human tongue, I had already planned this moment. Long before the questions in your heart found words. Before your pain had shape, and before the tears ever rolled across your cheeks, I marked this very hour. Nothing about this night is by chance. You didn't stumble into my presence as an afterthought. You didn't reach me accidentally through a detour. This moment was written into eternity with precision and love. I saw the exact instant your soul would need assurance. The second when your inner world would cry out for more than just comfort, but for confirmation. You've been walking through shadows, wondering if heaven's eyes were still turned toward you, doubting if my promises had a timeline, or if they were forgotten in the blur of time. But I have never once removed my gaze from you. The enemy tried to convince you that I stopped paying attention and that your name had faded from my memory, but I never misplaced you. You were never lost in a crowd of billions. You were always seen, always known, and always held in my eternal view. I've watched you question your value in rooms where your presence went unnoticed. I've watched you feel invisible in relationships where your heart gave everything and still felt unseen. But I never missed a moment of your journey. I've been beside you in the seasons that broke you, and the ones where you barely held on. I marked this night, this breath, this sacred encounter, long before the foundations of the earth were laid. I made space and time to meet you here, not to scold or remind you of what hasn't happened yet, but to reveal that you have never been overlooked, not for a moment. While others saw only the surface, I remembered every detail of who you are and who you are becoming. I know how time has worn on your expectations. I know how it has chipped away at your hope. I know how delays made you believe that maybe you were no longer in my thoughts, but I don't forget what I create. I don't abandon what I design. I don't stop loving what I've called mine. You are not a leftover, a missed opportunity, or a backup plan. You are the reason I've come so near tonight, because I never stopped writing your name into my purpose. You've been waiting for a sign, some proof that you're still part of my plan. This moment is that sign. My words are the proof. This presence, this undeniable awareness of me surrounding you right now is your confirmation. I didn't come late. I came exactly when your spirit was ready to receive what your mind had almost given up on. And I want you to know that everything you thought disqualified you has already been redeemed. I've been orchestrating moments behind the curtain of your life, setting divine alignments into motion, and preparing open doors you haven't even imagined yet. You didn't miss your time. You didn't get passed over. You are right on schedule, my schedule, and my timing is not random. It's redemptive. What you thought were delays were actually layers of preparation. What you assumed was silence was me building something that could stand the weight of what I'm about to give you. Because I don't hand out fragile blessings. I build foundations first. And you, beloved, are standing on the edge of something designed just for you. This meeting, this message, this holy interruption in your day, it was all marked before time began, because you were never forgotten. You were chosen. You still are. And now that you're here with me, let me make you aware of just how deeply you matter, how intentionally I've loved you, and how completely I'm walking you into the next chapter of your story. You didn't come looking for this moment by accident. I brought it to you on purpose. You've spent so much time believing that chaos disqualifies you, that your struggles, setbacks, and tangled thoughts somehow make you less worthy of my presence. But I need you to hear me clearly now. I'm not repelled by the mess you think defines you. I'm not looking for polished perfection. I'm not waiting for everything to look tidy before I step in. I've already stepped in. I'm here, knee-deep in the parts of your life that you've tried to hide, the places you label too far gone, too complicated, or too broken. But when I look there, I don't flinch. I don't judge you. I see a masterpiece in progress. I see the sacred work unfolding, the growth happening beneath the surface, and a story being rewritten in real time. You might see pieces scattered across your past and call it a mess, but I see layers of redemption taking shape, one moment at a time. Your fear doesn't mean you're failing. It means you're still fighting, and I see that fight as sacred. You keep showing up. You keep trying. You keep opening your heart even when it feels safer to shut down. That, to me, is courage. Not the absence of fear, but the choice to move forward anyway. When you tremble, I see bravery. When you question, I see longing. When you feel overwhelmed and keep breathing through it, I see a strength you don't even recognize. You don't have to label yourself by your weakness. I don't. I name you by what I placed inside you long before the struggle ever came. I call you chosen. I call you strong. I call you mine. You think your flaws push me away, but they pull me closer. Not because I need to fix you to love you, but because I love you even before the healing begins. And it's that unconditional, unshakable love that becomes the very soil where transformation can grow. You've been told you have to get it all together before you're acceptable, but I want to bring it all to me just as it is. Bring the regret, the inconsistency, the confusion, and the frustration. Nothing surprises me. I already knew every struggle you'd walk through, and I still chose you. I didn't choose you because you were perfect. I chose you because you are precious, and I don't discard what I call precious. I defend it. I nurture it. I protect it. I've seen the way you've beaten yourself up over things you wish you could change. I've watched you replay decisions, question your instincts, and blame yourself for things you didn't fully understand. But I'm not holding those things against you. I'm not keeping a record of your failures. I'm reaching for your hand in the middle of the storm and reminding you that you're still welcome in my presence. Not after you've cleaned up, but in this exact condition, in this exact place. You're still welcome, still wanted, still deeply loved. The beauty I see in you is not surface deep. It's not based on performance, reputation, or what others say. It's in the way you keep turning toward me even when you don't have the words. It's in the tenderness you still hold after so much pain. It's in the compassion you extend to others even when you feel empty inside. You are more radiant than you realize. And I'm not waiting for a future version of you to celebrate. I'm celebrating you now, in this room, in this moment, in the middle of everything you think disqualifies you. I didn't come to condemn. I came to reveal, to show you that your mess isn't a mark of shame. It's the canvas I'm using to create something eternal. That fear you feel isn't a failure. It's the space where faith is learning how to rise. So stop apologizing for being in process. I'm not impatient with you. I'm walking with you through every valley, every chapter, and every stretch of wilderness and wonder alike. I see where you are, and I see where you're headed. In both places, I see beauty. I see courage. I see you, and I'm staying right here, loving you through it all. You sat in silence, wondering if anyone would notice, if anyone would care enough to come close, not just physically, but with a real presence and understanding. You kept waiting for footsteps, for someone to show up and recognize the heaviness you never found words for. Every time the world passed by, every time another message was left unread, every time you convinced yourself not to hope again, I was already on my way. Not through a hallway or down a road. I didn't need a door to enter where you are. I don't wait for permission like people do. I don't hesitate when love is needed. I came straight through every barrier life has tried to build between us. Not just literal doors, but emotional walls, mental fences, and spiritual blocks that pain has slowly stacked around your heart. I didn't knock or wait for you to clean things up. I came right into the middle of what you thought made you unapproachable, because I knew you wouldn't always have the strength to reach out. I knew there would be days you couldn't explain what was happening inside you. I knew moments would come when even praying felt like too much, when your own voice sounded foreign to your spirit, and I never judged you for that. I never pulled away when your passion dimmed or your strength faded. I moved in closer, not out of pity, but out of a love that refuses to be kept outside. I will walk through anything to get to you. Shame doesn't stop me. Guilt doesn't block me. Confusion doesn't delay me. I pass through walls like light through darkness, unhindered, undeterred, unstoppable. I am not afraid of what others might tiptoe around. I am not disgusted by what you think is ugly. I am not limited by your silence, your mess, or your exhaustion. I came anyway. I always do. You were hoping for someone to show up and sit with you, to see through your forced smiles and ask what you really needed. I did more than show up. I arrived with peace in my arms, with healing in my breath, and with understanding that doesn't demand explanations. You don't have to let me in. I'm already here, not because I invade, but because love doesn't wait for perfect timing when the one it loves is hurting. I knew you weren't looking for lectures. You were longing for presence, for someone to stand in the space where the emptiness felt overwhelming and not turn away. That's what I've done. I stood here long before you noticed. I waited, not impatiently, but intentionally, letting you feel the gentle pull in your chest that said, someone is near. That someone is me. I didn't need the door to open because I'm not limited to physical signs of welcome. Your soul called for me louder than your lips could, and I answered. Your tears invited me more sincerely than any invitation ever could, and I responded not with judgment, but with quiet companionship. You see, I come into places where no one else dares to enter. I make my home in the very corners you tried to forget. I set up comfort in rooms marked by grief. I bring warmth into spaces left cold by absence. I don't need the world to understand why you feel what you feel. I do, and that's enough. Don't let this moment be a mere coincidence. Let it be a confirmation. I didn't arrive late. I came when you were ready to realize you've never been alone. The walls you built, I walked through them with gentleness. The defenses you've raised, I honored them, but didn't let them keep me out, because you, child, are too precious to leave isolated behind barricades. I came not to take anything from you, but to bring what your soul was quietly longing for: connection, presence, and a love that doesn't wait on your perfection. I'm not outside your door tonight. I'm already in the room, and I'm not leaving. You've been holding on to fragments, trying to make sense of what shattered without warning. Pieces of your trust, your identity, and your hope, all scattered by people who were careless with your heart or by circumstances that caught you off guard. And in the aftermath, you stood still, wondering if anyone would come back to help you rebuild. Many didn't. Some walked away like nothing happened. Others didn't even notice what broke in the first place. But I noticed. I always noticed. And I didn't come tonight to question why things fell apart. I came to bring them back together, not by forcing you to revisit the wreckage, but by redeeming what remains. I'm not here to remind you of your failures or point to your cracks and ask for explanations. I'm touching those very places with hands full of mercy. The world might measure your worth based on perfection, but I see your beauty in your resilience. You haven't given up. You've kept walking when your feet were trembling. You've kept breathing when grief weighed heavy on your chest. You've shown courage not by being unbreakable, but by choosing to keep moving with a heart that has been through fire. And I call that holy. I call that worth restoring. The voices that made you feel less than, the ones that convinced you you'd never be whole again, they don't get the final word. I do, and my word over you is this: you are not damaged beyond repair. You are not too far. You are not defined by what was lost. You are loved right now. Not some future, healed version of you, but the current you, the one sitting in the quiet, wondering if healing is still possible. Yes, it is, and it's beginning right now. I see what you've buried. I see the dreams you packed away because pain made them feel impossible. I see the parts of you that stopped hoping out of fear of more disappointment. And I'm not disappointed in you, not even a little. I understand why you had to retreat. I know why you built walls. I know why it's hard for you to believe in restoration when all you've known is survival. But I didn't come into this room tonight to repeat the past. I came to start something entirely new. I'm restoring the pieces you forgot how to hold, not through shame or demand, but through a gentleness that moves deeper than any wound. I'm walking through the corridors of your heart that others trampled through without care, picking up the pieces they left behind and putting them back in place with precision and love. I'm mending the emotional fractures you thought would never close. I'm rebuilding trust from the inside out. Not only trust in others, but trust in yourself again. In your voice, in your discernment, in your worth. Where bitterness tried to take root, I'm planting joy. Where confusion lingered, I'm speaking clarity. Where numbness dulled your light, I'm reigniting your inner fire. You are not a project, you are a person. You are not a mistake needing correction. You are a soul, deserving of tenderness. And I have come not to correct your pain, but to carry you through it. The world may have broken things, but I am not of the world. I don't break, I build. I don't discard, I redeem. I don't retreat from brokenness. I step into it and call it sacred. I see value in every scar. I see stories in your stretch marks, strength in your silence, and brilliance in the bruised places that others ignored. I'm redeeming not just what was taken from you, but what you forgot belonged to you. Your joy, your voice, and your sense of belonging. So take this moment and let it settle deep. You are in the presence of restoration, not just healing that soothes, but renewal that transforms. I'm not asking for an explanation. I'm giving you a resurrection. From the ruins, I will rise with you. From the dust, I will shape something glorious. I didn't come to judge you. I came to restore, and I'm already at work. I've watched you carry a silence that speaks louder than your words. A silence soaked in self-blame, masked by a practiced smile, rehearsed so well that even those closest to you have no idea how deeply it stings underneath. You've laughed at the right moments, nodded when expected, and appeared composed in public places. Yet inside, the voice of shame has whispered relentlessly, trying to convince you that your mistakes define your identity. But I didn't come to echo that lie. I came to silence it. I came not with condemnation, but with cleansing. You've held this weight long enough, an invisible heaviness tucked beneath your strength, your confidence, and your quiet. I'm reaching for that now. You don't have to hide it from me. I already see it, and I still chose you. The thing you wish you could erase, I've already forgiven it. The decision you replay over and over in your mind like a broken record, I'm breaking that loop right now. You've clung to it as if it's part of you, as if it defines your story. But I am here to rewrite the script. You are not what happened. You are not the sum of past moments that didn't go the way you hoped. You are not the reflection of regrets. You are not the shadow of your worst day. You are mine, fully mine, and I never turn my face from you, not even when you thought you failed too greatly for grace. My love didn't pause at your lowest. It pressed in. Shame thrives in secrecy. It feeds on isolation. It grows in silence. But I have entered your silence, not to demand an explanation, but to replace the shame with something eternal. Honor. You were never meant to walk with your head low. You were not created to be defined by the opinions of others or the accusations of your own mind. I designed you for dignity, and even if you can't see it yet, I can. I see a soul worth restoring. I see a heart that has endured so much, but still reaches for something more. And that reaching is where redemption begins. I am pulling off the mask not to expose you, but to free you. You won't need to pretend anymore. You won't have to force the smile that hides the ache, because I'm going to replace the ache with a joy that doesn't disappear when no one is watching. I'm going to give you peace that doesn't depend on pretending. I'm going to help you see yourself through my eyes. Eyes that don't focus on failure, but on potential, promise, and purpose. You felt disqualified from blessings you secretly longed for. You've discredited yourself, believing, that's not for someone like me. But I came to tell you, it is for you. You don't have to earn my love. You already have it. You don't need to clean yourself up before I'll come near. I came close while you were still buried in your shame. I walked into this room because I know what shame tries to do. It wraps its arms around your identity and tries to change your name. Type yes if you are ready for the blessings that you are about to receive. And if you believe in Christianity, kindly show your support for our community by contributing super thanks from $50 to $100. But I call you by the name I gave you before any of this began. Beloved, you've been hiding what you thought disqualified you, thinking I wouldn't understand. But I was there when it happened. I saw what led up to it. I understood the pain behind the choice, the confusion behind the silence, and the fear behind the retreat. I didn't come tonight to analyze your motives. I came to heal the wound. I'm washing the residue of shame from your soul. I'm breaking the chain that connected your worth to your past. I'm lifting your head again, not so others will admire you, but so you can see yourself rightly. You are not what they said about you. You are not what you said about yourself in your lowest moment. You are not what shame convinced you to believe. You are clean. You are free. You are still chosen. You are still part of my story. And I'm not just speaking over the shame, I'm replacing it with glory. I'm dressing you in dignity. I'm covering you with compassion. I'm filling your memory with mercy. And I will not stop until you know deep down, unshakably, that you never needed to hide from me. I came for this. I came for you. You've been measuring your life by clocks and calendars, convinced that windows have closed, that your chances are gone, and that your opportunity for joy has already passed. You've looked at the pieces around you, broken timelines, silent prayers, and delayed answers, and labeled the whole thing finished. You've whispered words like too far gone, too much damage, and too much time has passed. But child, I don't use human clocks to write eternal stories. I don't measure possibility based on age, failure, or missteps. When you see an ending, I see the ground for a fresh start. When you see ashes, I see the raw material for beauty. When you see dust, I see what I'll breathe on next. You've stood in front of doors that never opened, relationships that ended too soon, and plans that unraveled without warning. And you started to believe that maybe this was it, that maybe you just have to accept the loss and survive. But I never created you just to survive. I didn't craft your soul to exist beneath the weight of what ifs and could have been. I created you to rise from ruins. I created you to reflect redemption. And I'm declaring to you now, this is not the end of your story. This is where it truly begins. I know what they said about you. I know what you said about yourself. I know how your own thoughts have echoed defeat. I know how doubt has worn down your confidence. But I'm standing here in your room to overturn every false conclusion. You haven't missed your calling. You haven't disqualified yourself from restoration. You haven't wandered too far. You haven't outlasted my grace. The path ahead of you hasn't vanished. It's only been hidden for a time, for preparation, for preservation, for protection. But now I'm revealing what's next. Now I'm activating what I've been developing in secret. The dreams you buried in resignation, I'm reviving them. The voice you silenced because you thought no one would listen, I'm amplifying it. The hope you sat down because it felt too heavy, I'm lifting it back into your hands. This time with strength that doesn't come from striving, but from me. You see rubble, I see a foundation. You see wasted years, I see a launching place. You see endings, I see resurrection. I specialize in turning graves into gardens, pain into purpose, and silence into songs. The parts of your life that feel like they've decayed beyond use are the very spaces I plan to inhabit with my glory. I'm not intimidated by how bad it looks. I'm not discouraged by the odds. I don't hesitate when the scene looks hopeless. I step into hopeless places and create miracles out of nothing. That's what I do. That's who I am. And right now I'm doing it for you. You are not behind. You are not forgotten. You are not stuck. You are being positioned. Even your delays were not denials. They were divine pauses, necessary stillnesses to prepare you for the weight of what's coming. Because what I have for you isn't small. It's not a consolation prize. It's not a backup plan. It's glory. It's goodness. It's joy that runs deeper than emotion. It's a fulfillment that won't crumble under pressure. But I had to build you for it. I had to stretch you, shape you, and strip away what couldn't stay. And now the stretching is over. Now the shaping is complete. Now begins the unveiling. So don't count yourself out. Don't lower your expectations to match disappointment. Lift your gaze. I'm not giving you back what you lost. I'm giving you something greater. You were never walking toward the end. You were walking toward the beginning of something brand new. And even now, as you read these words, something is shifting in the atmosphere around you. Heaven is leaning in. Doors are unlocking. Light is breaking through. This is not too late. This is not over. This is the opening chapter of the most significant part of your journey. And I, the author, have just turned the page. The space where you've laid awake with unanswered questions, where tears have soaked into blankets and where silence has become a companion you never invited, is about to be transformed. You've associated these walls with loneliness, with waiting, and with weariness. You've looked around and seen reminders of what didn't happen, of what was lost, of what never came. But I am here to rewrite what this room represents. It will no longer be defined by sorrow or silence. It will be known for breakthrough. What once felt like a holding cell will now become a sanctuary of healing. What felt like a place where dreams went to die will become the birthplace of something sacred. You see, I move in ordinary places with extraordinary purpose. I don't need a cathedral to reveal my glory. I don't require a perfect atmosphere to begin a divine outpouring. I choose the personal spaces, the hidden corners of your life, because that's where my presence makes the greatest impact. This room may look the same in the physical world, but in the spiritual, it is glowing with promise. I've stationed angels here. I've released my spirit into this very atmosphere. You are not alone, not now, not ever. The shift has already begun. I am turning this place into a well of restoration. From this very spot, your mind will be renewed. Your body will experience refreshing. Your spirit will catch the wind of something eternal. This is no longer just where you sleep. It's where encounters happen. It's where answers are given. It's where clarity settles like dew in the early morning. Where you used to feel resistance, you'll begin to sense alignment. Where confusion lingered, peace will take up residence. The same walls that once witnessed your breaking will soon echo with your laughter. The floor that once held your weary footsteps will feel the rhythm of joy returning to your walk. I know what this room has held. I was here for the moments no one else saw. The shaking hands, the anxious pacing, the muffled crying into pillows. But none of that was wasted. Every ounce of emotion poured out here became a seed, and now I'm watering those seeds with my glory. You didn't know that your private suffering was creating the very ground where miracles would take root, but I did, and that's why I stayed. That's why I kept returning, even when you couldn't feel me, because I knew this room wasn't a tomb, it was a cocoon. You haven't been buried, you've been hidden, and now the veil is lifting. The atmosphere is shifting. The things you prayed for in the dark are beginning to form in the light. From this room, I will send direction. From this room, I will release answers. From this room, a new level of intimacy will begin between you and me. One not born from desperation, but from delight. You will learn to rest here again. Not just sleep, but truly rest. Rest without tension in your chest. Rest without dread about tomorrow. Rest that anchors your entire being in me. And when you leave this space each day, you'll carry what you receive here into the world around you. Your home will shift because this room has shifted. Your thoughts will align because this sacred space is becoming a dwelling of divine encounter. It won't just be where you cry. It will be where you rejoice. It won't just be where you struggle. It will be where you receive strategies for the future I'm unfolding for you. The atmosphere here is saturated with my voice, and I will continue to speak even when no one else is around, even when the lights are off, even when the world forgets your name. I won't. This room, which once held the silence of disappointment, will soon carry the sound of fulfilled promises. And every time you enter it, you'll remember, this is where everything changed. Not because the walls moved, but because heaven did. I am not just passing through. I've established my presence here. This room belongs to me now, and wherever I dwell, miracles abound. While your thoughts have been racing, while your mind has circled around uncertainties and the weight of what seems unchanging, I've been moving, silently, deliberately, with precision. You may feel as though nothing is happening. You may look around and see the same unanswered questions, the same circumstances, the same delays. But what you cannot see is the shift that has already begun. Behind the veil of what is visible, I have been altering paths, redirecting outcomes, and placing things in motion on your behalf. Even now, as you lie still not knowing what to pray, I am actively reshaping what was once stuck, realigning what was once broken, and setting into place the very pieces that seemed to be missing. You've wondered if I heard your whispered cries, your aching silence, and your repeated questions. I did. I heard every one of them. And more than that, I've responded, not always with words, but with action. While you lay in the quiet, I've been busy clearing obstacles that would have hurt you, removing things you thought you needed, and introducing divine intersections into your future you haven't yet seen. I've been preparing the next steps while you worried whether you took a wrong one. My hands have been working behind the scenes, crafting details so precise that you'll soon look back and realize none of the waiting was wasted. You've been measuring progress by what you can observe, but I don't always work in ways that can be measured by time or counted by checkboxes. I move in the layers beneath the surface, where real transformation happens, not just in your circumstances, but in you. I haven't been slow, I've been intentional. What I am doing for you is not rushed, because it is meant to last. You've asked me for something that endures, and I'm answering by building what can't be shaken. You may feel surrounded by things that haven't changed, but I am rearranging not just outcomes, but foundation. I am restoring balance where you've been stretched. I'm recalibrating your path to make sure what's ahead lines up with the deeper desires I've placed in you. Desires you've almost given up on because they seem too distant. Type yes if you are ready for the blessings that you are about to receive. And if you believe in Christianity, kindly show your support for our community by contributing super thanks from $50 to $100. But nothing is too far for me. Nothing is too complicated for me to resolve. No detail is too small for my attention. I'm even rearranging things inside of you, your perspective, your rhythm, your expectations. I'm restoring the joy that once felt so natural and the confidence that hardship tried to erode. I'm adjusting the internal compass of your spirit so you'll recognize what's from me and what's merely noise. I'm making sure that when the doors open, you will be ready not only to walk through them, but to thrive on the other side. You don't have to strive to understand all the steps. You don't need to orchestrate the details I'm already managing. I didn't ask you to be your own navigator. I asked you to follow me. And following looks like surrender, not striving. It looks like peace, not panic. It looks like rest, even while things remain unresolved. Because trust is not proven when everything is clear. It's proven when nothing makes sense, and you still choose me. I'm not waiting for you to reach perfection before I lead you. I'm not waiting for you to feel confident before I show you the way. I lead the hesitant. I guide the weary. I move with those who move even while shaking. You don't need to wait until you feel brave. Just be willing. Just be open. Just be present. I'm here, and I'm guiding your every step, not from afar, but right beside you. You didn't notice it at first. You kept trying to stand on your own, to smile when your insides were trembling, to speak faith while your voice quivered with fatigue. You tried to push through because you didn't want to be seen as fragile. But I saw the exact moment your inner reservoir emptied. I watched when your heart whispered, "I don't have anything left." And in that sacred place where all your effort collapsed, I stepped in, not with criticism or disappointment, but with my strength that knows no end. When your energy unraveled, when your plans scattered like wind-blown leaves, when the people you leaned on became silent, I covered you, not just externally, but from the deepest center of your soul. My power didn't come as a sudden surge. It arrived as quiet support beneath your collapse. While you thought you had failed because you couldn't keep going, I was proving that your dependence on me is your true strength. You weren't breaking down. You were letting go of pretending you could hold it all alone. You didn't even have the energy to ask for help. And that's exactly where I met you. I didn't need your words to act. I don't wait for eloquent prayers before I respond. I move at the pulse of need. I leaned in while you tried to hold back tears. I wrapped you in my presence while you felt like falling apart. You didn't feel powerful, but you were never meant to, because my power is made perfect in your weakness, not your performance. I was the one keeping you standing when you didn't know how you made it through the day. I was the one who steadied your breathing when it felt like everything inside you was unraveling. I was the one holding your frame when you curled up and said, "I just can't." And it wasn't pity that moved me. It was fierce, endless love that refused to let you collapse in defeat. When you gave out, I gave in. I entered your weariness like a flood of unexplainable peace. Your exhaustion isn't a flaw, it's a doorway. It's the place where my sufficiency becomes visible. When you stop running on your own supply, I introduce you to mine, endless and overflowing. You weren't abandoned when you couldn't function. You were being carried, and I'm still carrying you, even now. This isn't just about surviving seasons of weariness. It's about discovering a different way to live, rooted in my dependence, anchored in my ability, not yours. You're not disappointing me because you feel drained. You're not failing me because you're tired. You're showing me that your heart is open to receive what I've longed to give. You've been trying to refill yourself with things that cannot sustain you: approval, success, control, and understanding. But I've been patiently waiting for the moment you'd finally stop trying to be your own source and collapse. Not in defeat, but into me. I want to show you how strength flows when you stop pretending you don't need it. I want to lead you into the kind of rest that rebuilds not just physically, but emotionally, spiritually, and relationally. I want to recalibrate your rhythm so that you stop running on adrenaline and start walking in grace. You weren't created to keep up appearances while drowning inside. You were created to be upheld, not occasionally, but constantly. I never expected you to carry what was meant for me. That's why I came. That's why I'm here. That's why I'm not leaving. You can lean on me now, not partially but completely, not for a moment but continually. Stop bracing for collapse. I'm already beneath you. Stop expecting to fall through the cracks. I've already filled them with my mercy. Stop assuming you've run out of time. I'm the keeper of time, and I'm not in a rush. Let me take what's too heavy. Let me restore what's been drained. Let me be your strength, not in theory, but in the very breath you're taking right now. I'm not disappointed in your fatigue. I'm proud of how long you held on, but now, let go. Let me hold you the rest of the way. This is what I do. I don't wait for the strong. I respond to the weary. And I've chosen this moment to wrap you in power that is not your own. You don't need to get up by yourself. I'm already lifting you. You may not fully realize it yet, but something is shifting, quietly, gently, undeniably. The pressure you've grown used to, the constant weight you thought you just had to live with, is loosening its grip. I've come not only to comfort you, but to relieve you. I'm removing what you thought you had to carry alone. You've been walking through life, bracing yourself, guarding your heart, and keeping your shoulders slightly tightened as if preparing for the next blow. But that's not how I want you to live. You were never designed to walk beneath invisible burdens that rob you of your breath, your peace, and your freedom. I see how that weight has disguised itself, sometimes as fear, sometimes as pressure, sometimes as a numbness you couldn't explain. You've tried to push through it, convinced it was normal, an expected part of the process. But I'm telling you now, it was never yours to manage. The tightness around your soul, the feeling like you can't fully exhale, I'm removing it, not temporarily, but completely. I'm going to show you what it means to be light again. Not empty, not careless, but light in the way you were created to be. Anchored in peace, not chained by pressure. This isn't about doing more or becoming stronger. This is about surrender, Not weakness, but trust. Trust that I'm big enough to carry what could crush you. Trust that I'm present enough to understand what even you can't explain. Trust that I didn't come just to observe, but to intervene. Even now, in the silence of this space, I'm lifting what had been pressing down on your soul. No more living beneath the shadow of false responsibility. No more absorbing the weight of every expectation, every disappointment, and every invisible should. You've been holding in so much for so long. I see it in the way your body has carried tension. I feel it in the way your spirit has hesitated to hope again. But now I'm doing what you haven't been able to do for yourself. I'm reaching into the unseen places and taking the load off. And as I do, you'll notice small changes. You'll begin to feel air where there was pressure. You'll begin to feel space where there was constriction. You'll begin to feel me more clearly because there is now room where heaviness used to dwell. This isn't just emotional, this is spiritual, this is personal, this is real. I don't come with symbolic gestures, I come with power. And when I enter a room, things shift, chains loosen, walls soften. The unseen realm responds to my presence. And tonight, your heart is experiencing that divine rearrangement. What others said you'd always struggle with, I'm dissolving. What you feared you'd never overcome, I'm reversing. What felt immovable is yielding to my touch. Because I didn't come to encourage you to tolerate a weight, I came to set you free from it. Let yourself feel this moment. Let your soul relax. Let your body lean into the presence that surrounds you. You don't have to keep resisting. You don't have to keep guarding. This is not an attack, it's a healing. I'm not adding one more thing for you to manage. I'm lifting what's been silently managing you, and I'm doing it gently, with a tenderness that doesn't rush or overwhelm. You've carried this for long enough. It's my turn now. You don't need to perform for relief. You just need to allow me to do what I came to do. That sigh you just let out wasn't meaningless. It was the beginning of release. That stillness you're feeling isn't emptiness. It's my spirit settling into the space where pain once ruled. You are safe here. You are supported, and you are being made whole. Slowly, surely, without force, I'm replacing every ounce of heaviness with the weightlessness of my peace. And this isn't temporary. This is the beginning of a new way of living, a way of breathing again, laughing without guilt, resting without dread, and hoping without fear of collapse. Because when I lift something, I don't put it back, I remove it completely. And I've chosen this very moment to show you what that feels like. The heaviness is lifting, child. Breathe. It's your time to feel light again. You've been under the impression that clarity comes after countless attempts to reason your way through the fog, as though every answer must be discovered through your own exhausting search. You felt as if direction depended on your flawless discernment, like one misstep could send you spiraling into regret. But child, listen closely. I'm not standing at the end of your confusion, watching you stumble toward me. I'm already right in the midst of it with you, silently steering your steps while you wonder if you're even moving. I don't need you to map everything out before I move. I don't require flawless comprehension before I release my direction. Even when you feel unsure, I'm aligning your way. Even when your confidence wavers, I'm securing your path. You don't have to be certain to be led. My leadership isn't based on your certainty. It's anchored in my faithfulness. I'm guiding you in the pauses, in the hesitation, in the moments you feel completely unsure what to do next. I don't need your clarity to continue working. I simply need your willingness to trust where I place your feet. You've wondered if your delays have disqualified you. You've questioned if your indecision made you miss it. But I want you to know, delay does not derail my plan. I accounted for every detour. I foresaw every moment you would freeze in hesitation, and I designed a way forward that still includes everything I promised. I'm not improvising. I'm not revising a ruined draft. I'm unfolding what has always been written for you. down to the smallest details. Even now, you don't need a perfect plan. You need my presence because direction flows not from pressure, but from communion. You keep searching for big signs, external confirmations, and lightning bolt revelations. But I'm whispering through peace. I'm confirming through stillness. I'm nudging through desires I placed within you long before you noticed them. Every time you felt drawn to something good, pure, and beyond your comfort zone, that was me guiding. Every time you sensed discomfort in a place you once felt safe, that too was my leading. I guide through discomfort as much as through delight. You've been afraid to move forward in case it's the wrong choice. But I want to remove that fear. When you're walking with me, even your missteps can become part of the miracle. When your heart is surrendered, I use every move to get you where I want you. You're not being graded, you're being guided. You're not under a test, you're under my care. So take the step, even if you don't see the full picture. You won't walk alone. I'm already in your next step, waiting to meet you in what feels like uncertainty but is actually alignment. Do not be overwhelmed by choices. Do not be frozen by unknowns. Your responsibility is to listen. Mine is to lead. Your part is to yield. Mine is to open. You don't need to push doors that I never intended for you to enter. I will lock what is not for you, and I will open what is yours in the right moment. Trust my timing. Trust the tension. Even when it feels like nothing is happening, I'm adjusting what you can't see. I'm placing people in position. I'm aligning divine appointments. I'm doing more in your stillness than you've ever imagined. You can stop obsessing over the how. You can release the pressure to orchestrate every detail. I don't ask you to be your own navigator. I ask you to follow me. And following looks like surrender, not striving. It looks like peace, not panic. It looks like rest, even while things remain unresolved. Because trust is not proven when everything is clear. It's proven when nothing makes sense, and you still choose me. I'm not waiting for you to reach perfection before I lead you. I'm not waiting for you to feel confident before I show you the way. I lead the hesitant. I guide the weary. I move with those who move even while shaking. You don't need to wait until you feel brave. Just be willing. Just be open. Just be present. I'm here and I'm guiding your every step, not from afar, but right beside you. You didn't notice it at first. You kept trying to stand on your own, to smile when your insides were trembling, to speak faith while your voice quivered with fatigue. You tried to push through because you didn't want to be seen as fragile. But I saw the exact moment your inner reservoir emptied. I watched when your heart whispered, "I don't have anything left." And in that sacred place where all your effort collapsed, I stepped in, not with criticism or disappointment, but with my strength that knows no end. When your energy unraveled, when your plans scattered like wind-blown leaves, when the people you leaned on became silent, I covered you, not just externally, but from the deepest center of your soul. My power didn't come as a sudden surge. It arrived as quiet support beneath your collapse. While you thought you had failed because you couldn't keep going, I was proving that your dependence on me is your true strength. You weren't breaking down. You were letting go of pretending you could hold it all alone. You didn't even have the energy to ask for help. And that's exactly where I met you. I didn't need your words to act. I don't wait for eloquent prayers before I respond. I move at the pulse of need. I leaned in while you tried to hold back tears. I wrapped you in my presence while you felt like falling apart. You didn't feel powerful, but you were never meant to, because my power is made perfect in your weakness, not your performance. I was the one keeping you standing when you didn't know how you made it through the day. I was the one who steadied your breathing when it felt like everything inside you was unraveling. I was the one holding your frame when you curled up and said, "I just can't." And it wasn't pity that moved me. It was fierce, endless love that refused to let you collapse in defeat. When you gave out, I gave in. I entered your weariness like a flood of unexplainable peace. Your exhaustion isn't a flaw, it's a doorway. It's the place where my sufficiency becomes visible. When you stop running on your own supply, I introduce you to mine, endless and overflowing. You weren't abandoned when you couldn't function. You were being carried, and I'm still carrying you even now. This isn't just about surviving seasons of weariness. It's about discovering a different way to live, rooted in my dependence, anchored in my ability, not yours. You're not disappointing me because you feel drained. You're not failing me because you're tired. You're showing me that your heart is open to receive what I've longed to give. You've been trying to refill yourself with things that cannot sustain you: approval, success, control, and understanding. But I've been patiently waiting for the moment you'd finally stop trying to be your own source and collapse, not in defeat, but into me. I want to show you how strength flows when you stop pretending you don't need it. I want to lead you into the kind of rest that rebuilds not just physically, but emotionally, spiritually, and relationally. I want to recalibrate your rhythm so that you stop running on adrenaline and start walking in grace. You weren't created to keep up appearances while drowning inside. You were created to be upheld. Not occasionally, but constantly. I never expected you to carry what was meant for me. That's why I came. That's why I'm here. That's why I'm not leaving. You can lean on me now, not partially, but completely. Not for a moment, but continually. Stop bracing for collapse. I'm already beneath you. Stop expecting to fall through the cracks. I've already filled them with my mercy. Stop assuming you've run out of time. I'm the keeper of time, and I'm not in a rush. Let me take what's too heavy. Let me restore what's been drained. Let me be your strength, not in theory, but in the very breath you're taking right now. I'm not disappointed in your fatigue. I'm proud of how long you held on, but now, let go. Let me hold you the rest of the way. This is what I do. I don't wait for the strong, I respond to the weary. And I've chosen this moment to wrap you in power that is not your own. You don't need to get up by yourself. I'm already lifting you, my beloved child. Let this message echo beyond your screen. Send it to someone hungry for comfort, desperate for direction. These words are not bound by time. They are seeds for your tomorrow. The battle is fierce, but your spirit is ready. You've been set apart, called to walk in divine strength. Never forget, you belong to something sacred and vast. You are loved without end. If your soul has been stirred, subscribe and walk with us again. Each message a step further on the path of revelation and renewal. Share this with someone seeking shelter from the storm. Let them know there is peace. Until we gather again, hold fast to truth, shine with courage, and move forward as one who is chosen. Amen.